Okay, good morning. Today we're going to talk about linear measure. Linear measure. So yesterday we did points, lines, and planes. Today is linear measure. So this is the second section in chapter 1. All right, so we got to start with vocabulary. So just remember first what a line was. We talked about this yesterday. A line goes on forever and ever and ever in both directions. We could say this is line AB or line BA. So remember, we picked 2 points on the line to make the line. Today we'll talk about segments. So lines do not have a length. They go on forever and ever, but a segment would actually have a length because it has 2 endpoints. It stops. Has 2 endpoints. It actually stops. It does not go on forever. So a segment would actually have a length. So let's practice finding some segment lengths. If you have this is called segment addition, by the way, segment addition. If I have a full segment, segment AC, and say point B is somewhere in the middle, it doesn't have to be right smack dab in the center, just somewhere in the middle, would you guys agree that if I take this segment AB and add it to this segment BC that I would get the whole thing AC? Yeah, hopefully that's common sense. So if this was 3 and this was 5, if I took this segment plus this segment, that would give me the whole thing 8. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're going to have some problems that are that simple. At least I hope they're that simple.
Well, I think you're going to be like, you'll have
so,
problems, at least I hope.
Yeah, I hope it's that simple. So how could I find the length of PS? What would I do to get that full length?
Add PQ to SQ.
That's right. I would add PQ and SQ together. So 18.4 plus 4.7. 18.4 plus 4.7. I can't do that in my head. So 23.1. Could you do it in your head?
Yeah.
No.
So 23.1. It is centimeters, but I'm just going to have you in your assignment just put the number. Don't put centimeters or any of that today. So hopefully some will be that easy. What would I do on this one, though? If I have to find WX, this time I know the whole thing is 100. What would I do, Emma?
You take the whole length minus the part of the length you have, and you get the rest of it.
That's right. Does everybody understand that? So take the whole length 100 minus 89.6. 100 minus 89.6. And then I get 10.4. And that would be the length of WX. You good so far? Not too bad. Okay, what about this one? What would I do to get the whole length AC? Would I add or subtract? What?
Add both of them.
I would add them together. 4.9 plus 5.2. 4.9 plus 5.2. And I get, 10.1. And then this one I'm given the whole length again, so would I add or subtract?
Subtract.
15 minus 9.7. 15 minus 9.7, 5.3. Okay, questions on those? Those are pretty simple, right?
Those on the assignment.
Those will be on the assignment. Not the exact ones, you'll have different numbers, but those types of problems will be on the assignment. That'll be like number 1. Okay, now here comes the algebra.
Oh.
Okay, so get your expo marker or something to write with out because I'm going to want to show you how to draw the picture. Because if you don't see the picture, it's kind of hard to figure it out. So we're going to draw the picture each time on these. So these you might want to write down because some of them are on your assignment. So it says find the value of x and yz if y is between x and z. Draw the picture. So the first thing you're going to want to do with your expo marker is draw a segment. So draw a segment. Label each end X and Z. So I've got this segment XZ, and then it tells me Y is somewhere between. That does not mean dead center. It could be anywhere in here. I'll just put it right here so it doesn't look like it's right in the middle. So Y is somewhere between X and Z. So you're going to do this on all of these problems. Then it tells us that XY has a length of X plus 5. So where XY is, I'm going to put X plus 5. Then it tells us that yz is 2x plus 4. And then it says that xz, the whole thing, is 30. So we learned by segment addition, if you take this segment and you add it to this segment, it gives you the whole thing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this segment, x plus 5, and add it to 2x plus 4, and that's going to give us the whole thing, 30. So I just took this plus this gets the whole thing. So do you guys see that we have like terms on the same side? So this is some algebra review. If they're on the same side of the equals and you have like terms, you just combine them together. So 1x and 2x would make how many x's? 3x, and then 5 plus 4, 9. So this step right here, you wouldn't necessarily have to write down. If you look up here, you could say, oh, well, that would be 3x plus 9, and just write that down. So once you get to geometry, I want you to be able to start eventually skipping steps and doing some in your head, because when you take the SAT test for college, it's a time test. So if you can start doing stuff in your head, that's great. So remember, last year, I would look at this and say, okay, I have to get rid of the plus 9, so what's the opposite of adding 9? So last year, they made you write minus 9, minus 9. If you could do that step without writing that down, that's great. That's a good thing. So 3x equals, what's 30 minus 9? 21. And then what's the final step? Divide by 3, so x would equal 7. So now I have x, but it also asks me to find yz. So that just means you plug x into this one right here, yz. So I know that x is 7, so I would do 2 times 7 plus 4. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 4 would be 18. So yz would equal 18. So you'll be getting 2 answers on those. So if you can start getting to where you don't have to write down every single step, that's a good thing. That will be a time saver when you take a time test.
How long?
I want to write this all down.
Usually the entire SAT test is like from 8 a.m. to noon, but there's all the parts. There's like math section, English section, all science section. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Okay, next one. Let's draw the picture first. Draw the picture. So always draw a segment. Put X and Z on the ends. And then Y somewhere in the middle. I'm going to put it on this end this time. Just to make sure that it's not in the center so you guys don't accidentally think it's a midpoint. Then it tells me that XY is 4X. YZ is 3X. And the whole thing is 42.
Isn't this like the same?
It's, yeah, so I would do this plus this equals this. Well, what is 4X plus 3X?
7x.
7x. So 7x equals 42. Do you see how I just skipped a step? So x would be 6. Notice I didn't write divide by 7, divide by 7. So if you can skip steps, that's great. X is 6. I want to know also what YZ is. So if I plug it in, 3 times 6 is, yeah, it is the same length, isn't it?
I was like, no, because I first started doing the problem on top. I was like, wait, this is like the same.
Same, yeah. All right. So you will have some problems like that where you have to draw the picture. I'm getting ready to erase it.
No, please. It was so young.
So X is 6, YZ is 18.
So you divided 42 by 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, do you kind of remember that from algebra?
Yeah.
So this is being multiplied. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yay.
All right, moving on. Moving on. Next, let's talk about the word congruent. So congruent means that two segments will have, congruent segments would be, they have the exact same length. So there's a symbol for congruent. You'll see an equal sign with a little squiggly. That just means congruent. But there's a way to mark congruent segments. So in geometry, if you see those little slashy marks like that, that means those segments are congruent. So AB is marked congruent to CD. But what happens, like, say I've got a point right here, A, B, C, D, E. I'll label it E. What if I have a part in here? And I also want you to know that BE is congruent to EC. Well, if I mark it just with one slash, you're going to think that all four pieces are equal. So if these two have a different length, we would mark them with two slashes. So the ones with two slashes means those two are equal. The ones with one slash means those are equal. What if I had another one here? Yes. And I wanted GA and DF to be equal, I would do 3 slashes. So you look for the number of slashes to pick the ones that are equal to each other. So like AB, see how it has 1 slash, would be equal to CD because it has 1.
Oh.
BE would be equal to EC because they have 2. And GA would be equal to DF because they have 3. So that's how you find the congruent segments in geometry. That's how it's marked in geometry. All right. So you will have some problems where you have to decide which segments are congruent to each other. So if I look at this first one, I can just look at the numbers. So name a side with 2 letters. Which sides would be equal to each other?
Wait, what shape are we looking at?
Let's look at this one.
AC and BD.
Yep, AC would be congruent to BD. Do you see how they're both 3? Okay, now let's try it with the slashy marks. Which one would WX be congruent to? YZ. Which one would WY be congruent to? XZ. So do you see the number of slashes? That's how you determine. Okay, so you will have some problems like that where you have to determine which sides are congruent to each other, if any. Last but not least, we're going to talk about midpoint. So we have found midpoint on the coordinate plane before. A midpoint of a segment is just a point that divides the segment into 2 equal parts. So AB would equal BC. Those 2 parts would equal each other. So before we did segment addition, I took this plus this to equal the whole thing. Well, now I know those 2 equal each other. So let me show you how to do a problem like that. So now I know that A is the midpoint. So XA would equal AY. So instead of doing that plus that equals the whole thing, I would just do 3x equals 5x minus 6. Now we have x's on both sides of the equals. X is on both sides of the equals. So when I go across the equal sign, I have to do the opposite operation. Okay? So I want to get my x's together. So see how that 5x is positive? I've got to minus it. Minus 5x minus 5x. What's 3x minus 5x?
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x equals, don't forget the negative sign, negative 6. Now what would I do?
Divide negative 2.
So how many times is negative 2 going to negative 6? 3. So x would be 3. Then it says find XA. So if I plug it in, what's 3 times 3?
9.
9. It also says find AY. Well, I better get 9 here, right? Because those equal each other. So 5 times 3 minus 6. 15 minus 6?
9.
Okay, good. And then what's the whole thing if each of those are 9?
18.
18, yeah. 18 again. What? Okay, so you'll have some where you add and put it equal to the whole thing. You'll have some where you put equal to each other. This next one is on your assignment. I think it's the second to last problem. So this is a problem on your assignment. You'll definitely want to write this down because it's a little tricky. I wanted to do this one. It's the second to last problem. So it says that AD is 12. So AD is right here. Do you guys see that? I'm going to put a 12. Well, do you see the little double slashes?
Yeah.
Do you see another one that would be 12?
DC.
DC, yeah. So it also says find DC. I already know it. It's 12 because it has 2 slashes. They both have 2 slashes.
So that's 24.
But it also tells me I have to find Y and the whole length. Oh, hey, I already know the whole length AC. What is that whole length? 24. Okay. I also have to find Y. So it tells me right here that AC, the whole thing, is 4Y minus 36. So 4Y minus 36 would equal, what is that whole thing? 24. A lot of people look at it and just see the 12 and the 4Y minus 36 and say 4Y minus 36 equals 12. But it doesn't equal just that piece. It equals the whole thing, 24. So plus 36, 4Y equals 60. And then how many times does 4 go into 60?
15 times.
15? Thank you, Skylar. So Y is 15. So that is on your assignment. So second to last problem, there's 3 answers, 15, 24, and 12.
Don't write the
Is that the exact same one?
It's the exact same
I'm
problem.
gonna write this down.
It's the second to last problem. I don't remember how many you have. I think your assignment might even be unlocked now. Did it unlock at 8:10?
Yeah.
What is? I can't do simple addition.
You are.
So 24, 12, and 15 are those answers. 24, 12, and 15.
no! You're
24, 12, and 15.
Okay, wait.
24,
I'm
12,
already on how to do the problem.
24, 12, and 15. I'll help you.
We'll wait for the next.
Okay, so this is why unicorns don't exist. They forgot to get on Noah's Ark, I guess.
That's
And then,
they turn into narwhals.
is this your brain when you're trying to sleep?
Oh my god, yeah.
Hey, are you sleeping? Yes, shut up now. All odd
I woke
numbers
up at like
have the
3
letter
a.m.
E in it.
And I thought someone came in my room
Oh.
at 3 a.m. It was
Wait,
like the craziest
no.
thing.
Cut her off.
All right, so this should be unlocked.
Except for Uno.
This should be unlocked. So number 1, you're just finding each missing link. So you have to decide whether you add the numbers together or you subtract the numbers to find the missing piece. So that's how you do number 1 and 2. Number 3, you are just going to say yes or no. So it's going to give you 2 segments to look at and you decide whether or not they're congruent to each other. So TU is 2, SW is 3. Are those congruent to each other?
No.
So you just put no in O. No.
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 So like on the next one, you're going to look at AD, which has 1 slash, and BC, which has 1 slash. Are those equal to each other? So you would put yes.
Okay.
What about GF has 1 slash and FE has 2 slashes?
No.
No, so put a no. Yeah. And then nobody likes word problems, do they?
No.
Would you like me? Would you like me to do the word problems
Yes.
with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. Michael,
Wait, what question?
This is numbers 4 and 5.
No problem.
It got me confused. I read it. I was like, oh.
So the main thing is to always draw a picture. That's what helps me. So this says I have a hiking trail that's 20 kilometers long. So I'm going to draw this hiking trail, and I know that the whole thing is 20 kilometers long. It says park organizers want to build 5 rest stops for hikers with 1 on each end. So I already know I have these 2 rest stops, and then 3 spaced evenly between. So I've got 1, 2, I didn't do a very good job, but these are supposed to be evenly spaced. What would the length between each rest stop have to be to make the whole thing 20?
4 kilometers.
4? Is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 20?
Yes.
no.
No.
Wait,
No, it's
It would be 5. 5
Oh.
plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. So it would be 5, not 4. There are a total of 5 rest stops, but since there's one on each end,
Whoa.
that's why.
But they're walking to the first rest stop from somewhere else.
Well, that's not what it asked. Okay, so that answer is 5. Let's do one more. Number 5.
You mean the answer's 4? No, the answer's
Says
5.
a railroad track is being built to connect 2 cities. Railroad track being built to connect 2 cities. I have city 1 and city 2. It says the measured distance of the track between the 2 cities is 160.5. So it always helps to draw the picture. It says a mail stop is 28.5 miles from the first city. So here's this mail stop. I have 28.5 miles. How far is the mail stop to the second city? So I need to know this length right here. So what would you do to find that length? Subtract 160.5 minus 28.5. Do you see how much easier it is when you draw the picture though? So do 160.5 minus 28.5.
I put it. Yeah, 132. Got it right. I did.
182. Is that it?
So then starting with number 6, these are the ones where you have to draw the picture and label all the parts. So I'll help you set up number 6. I'm not going to solve it though. So 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 are going to be just like that. And then starting with 10, you have congruent parts.
What is congruent mean?
Equal.
Same length.
Same length,
Oh.
yes.
Yeah. Right here.
Okay, so on number 6, start by drawing the segment. You'll put X on one side and Z on the other.
Oh.
And Y somewhere between. It does not necessarily mean right in the middle. Y somewhere between. Then it tells us that XY is 5X. And YZ is X. And XZ, the whole thing is 30. So you'd have to do this segment plus this segment to equal the whole thing. So what is 5x plus 1x?
6x.
So 6x equals 30. And you solve it for x. And then I want you to plug it in to find xy. So you'll do 5 times whatever x is. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, so you have to do the same thing for 7, 8, and 9. Okay? So you have to solve for x and plug it in to find xy on that one. Now on number 7, you'll plug it in to find yz.
Wait.
What'd you get for x?
5.
And then you have to plug it in to find xy, so what's 5 times 5?
25.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, you just...
Okay, so do 7, 8, and 9 just like that. Starting with number 10, do you see the slashy marks? That means those pieces equal each other. So you would put 5x plus 3 equals 7x minus 9, and you have to solve. So you will put them equal to each other to solve. And then we did number 13 together. Did you write down what y was?
No.
What was y? It was
15.
y was 15. AC was 24, and DC was 12. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so 14 will be a little challenging as well. So if you have questions, let me know.
I mean 8.